Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Moldvay Basic Rules reading of Dungeons & Dragons from 1981. Today's our Dungeons & Dragons Fantasy Adventure Rulebook. Fantasy Adventure Game Basic Rulebook. Okay, there we go. Table of contents, blah blah blah, index. Index is supposed to be in the back of the book. I like this drawing, pen and ink, just basic black and white with stereotypical characters. Dwarf, elf, archer, and wizard with stars and moons on his robe, which is very cute. By Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. Even though they didn't write this, it's edited by Tom Moldvay, who wrote it. Okay. Okay. So I've read all this stuff. I just wanted to look at this illustration again. It's really good with the dice. The line paper, the graph paper, and the hex paper. I like that drawing, and it has the little miniature on it. I used to have Ral Partha miniatures, lead figures. You're not supposed to be around things made of lead. But they didn't care back then in 1978. All right. Okay. So scroll down. This is where I'm going to start with part 2, player character information. Now, the reason for reading all of this is I first read it when I was 16 and I'm 55 now, and I'm still trying to figure out how to play this game. And it is a joy to read this after all these years. All right, part 2, player character information, how to create a player character. All right, this is all basic stuff. 1. On a blank sheet of paper, write down the names of the 6 player character abilities: strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, and charisma, in that order. If a Dungeons & Dragons character record sheet is being used, the 6 names will already be printed on the sheet. It may be useful to glance at the example character record sheet hereafter, page B14, to see the form that such a sheet takes. And now that I'm older, I see the wisdom in using index cards. When you get higher level, you can use a full sheet of paper. But index cards work fine, and they use less table space. Okay, so I figured that out. Number 2, roll 3 dice 6 for a result of 3 to 18 for each ability, and put the result in pencil next to the name of the ability. We never did that. We would roll 6 dice and take the best 3. We cheated. So, like, all my friends would get a +3 on every combat roll because they all had 18s. But that's not very realistic. So I'm actually trying to figure out how the game is actually supposed to be played. Okay, number 3. Read the sections on character abilities, page B6, and character classes, pages B9 to 10, and choose a class which best suits your character. Okay, got that figured out. Write down any special abilities your character possesses because of the class for future reference, keeping in mind that your character is first level. Magic users and elves should choose 1 spell, consulting the section on magic user and elf spells, pages B16 to 17. Number 5. Read the section on ability score adjustments, page B6, and then adjust your character's ability scores if so desired. 6. Consult the table of bonuses and penalties, page B7, and make a note of the results next to exceptional ability scores. 7. Set aside a section. Take 2. 7. Set aside a section of the paper for experience points or XP. As a new character, mark down 0 for the number of starting XP. For future reference, make a note of the number of XP needed to advance to second level. Okay, pretty easy. Got that figured out. Name, Borg. Class, Fighter. Strength, 17. Intelligence, 8. Wisdom, 10. Dexterity, 7. Constitution, 15. Charisma, 6. Hit points, 6. Armor class, 3. Alignment, Lawful. A basic D&D just has 3 alignments. Lawful, Neutral, and Chaotic. That's fine. It kind of makes it easier. Armor class 3, we'll get to that. Hit points. If I was going to play the game at first level, I would just give every player maximum hit points at first level. So a player doesn't have 1 hit point. Unless you're doing a suicide kind of thing. Oh my god, I have to read all this. Level 1, X points, 0. It should say XP. Money, 10 GPs. God, whoever wrote this is crazy. Need 1,000. Need 1,000 XP to get to second level. Okay. Saving throws. Poison, 12. Magic wand, 13. Paralysis, 14. Dragon breath, 15. Spells, 16. Oh, that's good. Attack rolls. So it lists the AC from 0 to 8 and what you need to hit depending on the creature you're attacking. Equipment. Long sword, daggers, shield, short bow, arrows, 50 feet of rope, 1 backpack. How about some food and water? So one thing I don't like about this book is it has 2 columns. I'm rewriting the book, but I'm just doing it with 1 column. I'm going to try and show you an example. See, this is just 1 column. 1 column of text. So much easier. They crammed everything onto these pages, and they continue to do that to 5th edition. And some of these D&D books have 3 columns of text, like a magazine. It's unreadable. But what's cool about the basic set is the text is dark, whereas the print in the later editions done with a computer, it's a lot lighter. It's no fun to read. 8. Determine the number of hit points your character has by rolling the appropriate type of hit die as mentioned in the class description. Record the number in a special area marked hit points or HP. Okay, got that. Check. 9. Read the section on character alignment, page B11, and choose an alignment for your character. Record the alignment next to your character's name. Arguments about alignment are legendary in D&D history. That's another subject. Basically, chaos is best exemplified in the Elric of Melnibone books. Some people say Melnibone, like I used to say, but a British guy pronounced it Melnibone. Melnibone. I think that's probably as Michael Moorcock intended. 10. Roll 3 dice 6 and multiply the result by 10. This new number is the total amount of money or gold pieces, abbreviated GP, your character starts with and can spend on equipment for adventures. Record this amount in the section marked Money or GP. Roll 3d6 and multiply the result by 10. So you could get an 18 for a maximum and have 180 gold pieces. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that's how they did it for basic D&D. 11. Consult the table of costs of equipment and weapons, page B12, and buy whatever equipment your character desires within the limits of his or her starting amount of GP and class restrictions. For example, magic users may not wear armor. Write down the equipment you have purchased on the back of the paper. That's a rule I might change. Why can't they wear armor? Because it restricts arm movements? It's silly. 12. Now that you know what type of armor your character will be wearing, check the armor class table, page B12, and write down the number of your character's armor class in a section marked armor class or AC. So, back in the day, AC was descendant. Now modern versions have AC ascending. It's really confusing for anyone trying to learn the game. 13. Find the character attacks table, page B27, and record the scores your character needs to hit the various armor classes when in battle. Check the saving throws table, page B26, and write down the various scores that your character may need to roll as saving throws during an adventure. Part 4 of this booklet, The Encounter, contains an explanation of these numbers and how they are used. So with every paragraph, it just means more work for the DM. So the DM, just starting out with new players, has to read and understand this entire book before a single game can be played. That could be a week or 2 weeks. It's a lot of work for the DM. You just want to go in and play the game. But that's how D&D is. It's not easy. 14. If you have not already done so, name your character. If any problems have come up while creating your character, double check with the example of character creation on page B13. Okay. Summary. 1. Roll for ability scores. Alright. 2. Choose a class. Note special abilities and spells. Well, what they should say is, out of your first 4 rolls, there's going to be one number that's higher than the others. And strengths, if you have a high number for strengths, you become a fighter. Intelligence, you become a magic user. Wisdom, you become a cleric. And if you roll a high dexterity, you should be a thief. That's how it works. But they don't say that. 3. Adjust scores as desired. Note bonuses for high scores. Okay. 4. Roll hit points. Like I said, at first level, just give the person maximum points, 6 or 8 or 6. That's a good number. 5. Roll for money. Equip the character. 6. Find armor class, attack, and saving throw numbers. Name the character. Well, they forgot to mention that you should draw your character in the little box. I like this illustration. Some girl is thinking about being a sorcerer chick, and this guy is thinking about being the Conan the Barbarian character. But at the time this was published, I don't think there was more than one girl playing D&D. For every 10,000 guys, there might be one girl playing. D&D is a boys' game. Well, that's all changed. Character abilities. After rolling the 6 ability scores for a character, the player should choose a class, that type of adventurer which the player would most like the character to be. One or two abilities are the most important to each character class. The ability most important to a class is called the prime requisite for that class. The higher the prime requisite score, the more successful that character will be in that class. Possibly. To choose a class, a player should first look for his or her highest ability scores. If one of the high scores is the prime requisite for a class, the player should consider making his or her character a member of that class. The 6 ability scores and their use as prime requisite are explained hereafter. Strength. Strength is a measure of muscle power and the ability to use that power. Any character with a strength score of 13 or above should consider one of the following 4 classes: fighter, dwarf, elf, or halfling. Strength is the prime requisite for the classes of fighter and dwarf, and one of the 2 prime requisites for the classes of elf and halfling. So when I start my basic campaign, because races are classes, screw that. You're a dwarven, elf, fighter, cleric, wizard. If it's an elf, screw that. And no level limits. I'm changing things. That's just the way with D&D. As written, you can change the rules. That's how it's supposed to be. Intelligence. Intelligence is the ability to learn and remember knowledge, and the ability to solve problems. Characters with an intelligence score of 13 or above should consider the classes of magic user or elf. See, I'm going to do with elf as a class. Intelligence is the prime requisite for magic users and one of the prime requisites for elves. It's just BS to me. Wisdom. The word wisdom refers to inspiration, intuition, common sense, and shrewdness. Wisdom aids in solving problems when intelligence is not enough. A character with a wisdom score of 13 or greater should consider the class of cleric, since wisdom is the prime requisite of that class. Thanks, Tom Moldvay. I want to end this video. Dexterity. Dexterity is a measure of speed and agility. A character with a high dexterity score is good with his hands. That's what she said. And has a good sense of balance. A character with a dexterity score of 13 or greater should consider the classes of thief and halfling. Dexterity is the prime requisite of thieves and one of the prime requisites of halflings. That's another BS rule I'll get rid of. Constitution. Constitution is a combination of health and endurance, the ability to hold up under pressure. That's one way to put it. It directly influences every class, possibly changing the number of hit points a character has. Constitution is never a prime requisite. Really? Yeah, okay. Whatever. Charisma. Charisma is a combination of appearance, personal charm, and leadership ability. Well, I have some comments about charisma, but this is YouTube. It helps the DM decide exactly how a monster will react to a player character. If also affects the number of retainers a character can hire, see page B21, and the morale attitude, see page B27 of these hirelings. So there's a typo. It says if, it should be it. Charisma is never a prime requisite. Yeah. Okay, ability score adjustments. I'm not going to read this crap right now. That's good enough. Sorry about the coughing. No one's going to watch this entire video anyway. Alright. Thank you.